see some of the words or vocabularies that we discussed about last time. If you remember, last time we talked about words like absence, convenient, congested, available, facilities, emit, poisonous, discharge, and pleasant. These were all of the words that we saw last time. If you remember, we said absence means the state of not being there or not being present. So if we say someone is absent, we are saying that that person is not present. And convenient, we said, is the definition for convenient is easy to use or helpful. We gave an example by saying, or even did a classwork, if you remember, by saying, it is convenient for me to take the bus near my home because it is very easy for me. Number 3 is congested. Congested means blocked or overcrowded. It's usually referring to areas or cities or places that have large number of people in them or large number of vehicles in them. Number 4 is available. Available means the idea of getting something easily or something to be had. And the 5th word that we saw is facilities. So we gave examples like schools, like gyms, having the right facilities. For example, we said the school has more facilities. It could be a swimming gym, it could be a basketball gym, it could be a football area, court or area, it could be good and healthy classes where students could learn in a very good way. It could be desks. So facilities, and facility means equipment or places a certain company or certain places have. Okay, number 6 is emit poison. To emit poison means to send out or release poisonous gases or poisonous substances into the atmosphere. Why is that? Because some companies or some factories, they tend to emit poisonous gases or poisonous, it could be, for example, cars that emit poisonous fumes into the atmosphere. So discharge, on the other hand, is also similar to poisonous, emit poisonous. Discharge also means to allow someone to leave somewhere or to release something. It could be releasing a substance, a harmful substance, or it could also mean to allow someone to leave someplace. For example, it could be allowing someone to leave their work area, or it could also mean to allow certain substances or to release some substances into the atmosphere. The final word that we saw was pleasant. Pleasant, as we have said, as we have talked about last time, is a very positive word that shows something is very nice and something is very enjoyable. So these were all of the words that we saw last time. I'm sure you have went back to it. You went back to it and you have seen the examples that we talked about, and you have also done some exercises on your own. And let's go to today's lesson. Today's lesson is synonyms and antonyms. So what are synonyms and what are antonyms? And what are the many uses of these two things? We use them a lot especially when we are learning English. We use it a lot to learn vocabularies, new vocabularies. We use them. For example, synonyms means same meaning or similar meaning, and antonyms means what? An opposite meaning or different meaning. So, synonyms what? Have the same meaning. Means having the same meaning. For example, big, large, smart, clever, happy, joyful, delicious, delicious means tasty. If we say it's tasty and if we say it's delicious, we're talking about the same thing. Their meaning is the same. If we say happy, and if we say it's very joyful, we're still talking about the same things. These are what? The same meanings. These words and these words next to them have same meanings. Again, what about antonyms? Antonyms. What is the meaning of an antonym? It means to have different. If you see, we said to have the same meaning. In this case, to have different meanings. So, words having different meanings. For example, big, small, happy, sad, hot, cold, brave, afraid. So if you see here, these words have what? Different meanings. They're not the same like the first one. For example, big, we still have big here, but they have different meanings. Happy, again, happy here, but with happy, in the case of synonym, we have joyful. But in the case of antonym, we have sad instead of happy or instead of joyful. So if it is antonym, if your teacher tells you or someone who's giving you a vocabulary exercise tells you to write the antonym of these words, that person is telling you to write the different meaning of that word. But if that person is telling you to write the synonym of the words, then that person is telling you to what? Or asking you to write the same meaning. The easy way to remember the names of synonym and antonym is, for example, synonym is very similar to the sound same or similar. So it would be easier for you to remember synonym because it has the same sound as same or similar. So that means it is the same meaning or similar meaning. On antonym, on the other hand, it may not have the same meaning as different, but if you remember synonym, then I'm sure you'll remember antonym. So now let us see in details the different types of synonyms and antonyms. The first is the first types of synonym. Types of synonyms. The first one is absolute synonym. Absolute synonym meaning having identical meaning, exact same meaning. Means having identical meaning. So the words that you find in the case of absolute synonyms are exactly the same. So they don't have any slight difference. They are exactly the same. For example, end, finish, buy, purchase, begin, start. As you see here, all of them have the same meaning. It doesn't have a slight different meaning, but all of them have the same meaning. End means finish, and finish means end. So we use them vice versa. Buy means purchase. To purchase also means to buy. So the same identical meanings. Begin means start, and start means begin. So absolute synonyms are synonyms that have the same identical meaning without change. The second type of synonym is partial synonym. Partial synonym, unlike absolute synonym, has a slight difference in meanings with the word. It has a slight difference in meaning. Unlike the first one, it has a little bit of slight difference. For example, big, large. If you see here, they are both what? They are both talking about how something is what? Big. Something is, in this case, what? Immense in size. They're both talking about immense in size. But in the case of big, we use it for an informal situations. In informal situations, we use big. So even though they are the same, but their usage, so slight difference in meaning, or in this case, instead of meaning, usage. Okay, usage. So if we have the same ideas, the same meanings, but slight things in their usage. One of them means what? Or one of them is used in informal situations. Another one, happy, content. So happy, content. So they both represent having what? A pleasant time, or a pleasant, it could be afternoon, a pleasant thing. But both of them represent having a pleasant state or being pleased. But there is different meaning in their usage. For example, content means a longer state of, or a longer stability state of being content or being pleased. Unlike happy, you could say, for example, I am happy today. But tomorrow, it might not be the case. Tomorrow, you may be sad or angry or feeling another type of emotion. But if you say, I am content, it means this is a state where you are in that it will continue for a longer period of time. So this is the second type of synonym. The third type of synonym is contextual synonym. Contextual synonyms are synonymous in context only. They are synonymous in context only. For example, we have bright and we have smart, quick, fast, and we also have another example, cold and chilly. So if you see the examples with all of these, we have similar meanings. They all have similar meanings, right? But they are synonymous in context only. So in context, they have the same meaning. But outside of the context, they have different meanings. For example, the first one, bright and smart, is they are similar in the context of intelligence. In the context of intelligence, they are both similar. And the second one, in the context of speed, they are similar. Again, the third one, in the context of temperature, again, they are both similar. But as outside of these contexts, they may have different meanings. For example, bright may signify a different meaning, for example, in light. So if we say it is very bright outside, we're saying the light has what? It is too much light outside. So if that is the case, then these two are different in meanings. But in this context, if we find them together, then if I say she is bright, I'm saying she is smart and she is intelligent. Okay, this is the third type of synonym. The fourth type of synonym is connotational synonym. Connotational synonym. So, when we say connotational synonym, the words are similar. The meaning of the words are similar. But there is a difference in emotion or cultural connotation. So these words, they have similar meanings, unlike the above ones. They have similar meanings, but we might find a slight difference in their emotion or cultural connotation. For example, cheap and inexpensive and skinny and slim. For example, with these two examples, if you see, they have the same meaning. Cheap means inexpensive, skinny means slim. But they have what? There's a difference in emotion or cultural context. For example, with skinny and slim, if I say someone is skinny, in our context, in our cultural context, it may seem that person is looking unhealthy or that person is not good in their physical state. So, skinny might not mean thin. It may mean unhealthy. So, cultural connotations or emotion differs here in meaning. And the first one, cheap and inexpensive. They're both not expensive, but in the case of cheap, it may seem poor quality. In the case of cultural connotations, if I say this is cheap, I bought this material for a cheap price, some people might think, it is because it doesn't have a good quality. That's why it is cheap. So, even though these two have the same meanings, but they are different in emotion and cultural connotations. And that is how it is different. The other is, these are all about synonyms. What about antonyms? Types of antonyms. The first one is binary antonyms. So binary antonyms are antonyms that have or that are direct opposites from each other, or in this case it means the presence of one means the absence of the other. If one exists, the other will not. So one is there, the other is not. I will give you an example. For example, if we say alive, and then its binary opposite or binary antonym is dead, right? If you are alive, you cannot be dead, and if you are dead, you cannot be alive. So it is what? They are direct opposites, and the presence of one means the absence of another. Another example, male, female. If you are male, you cannot be a female, and if you are a female, you cannot be male. Again, they are direct opposites from each other. Another, true, false. If something is true, it cannot be false, and if it is false, it cannot be true. So again, you could remember this antonym by saying, if you have two words like these, if they are what? If one is there and the other is absent, then that means it is a binary antonym. Okay. The other one is gradable antonyms. Gradable antonyms are antonyms that have difference in spectrum. In different spectrum. We find these in different spectrum. For example, hot, cold, tall, short, happy, sad. So we find these three, they are opposites, but we find them in different spectrums. So that means in the middle of the spectrums, there are different varying degrees. For example, with hot and cold, in the middle, it could be cool, it could be warm, it could be lukewarm, depending. But these two are at the opposite end of the spectrum. One is extremely hot and the other is extremely cold. So in the middle, we might find different degrees of hot things or cold things. So it may not be cold, it may be cool. So there is a difference between them. So these two are at the end of each spectrum. Okay, just like tall and short. Okay, just like tall and short. If we say someone is tall and someone is short, and then in the middle, there may be people who have a middle height. So we're comparing these with heights. Just like happy and sad. People may not be extremely happy or extremely sad. So that means there may be feelings or emotions in between. So these, when we say gradable antonyms, we're saying their degrees of spectrum is in the opposite direction. Okay, this is the second type of antonym. The other one is relational antonyms. Relational antonyms are related because of the words that are used. For example, these are easy for you to remember. For example, words like teacher, student, even though they are opposite, but we see these two words smushed together. Most of the time, they are together. If we talk about teachers, we always talk about students. So they have a relationship, even though they are opposites. Another, this is also something you're familiar with. Parent, child. So this is what? Again, something that is completely opposite, but they still have relations. So a parent has a child. So it is something that have a relationship, but something that's also opposite at the same time. Again, doctor, patient. So a doctor is someone who heals a person who is sick, and a patient is someone who is sick. So in this case, they are opposite, but they're still connected because one tries to help the other. So that is relational antonyms. The fourth one is reverse antonyms. Reverse antonyms are antonyms that go to opposite sides, or that go away from each other. Let me give an example. Ascend, descend. Increase, decrease. Arrive, depart. So if you see all of these, they are going away from each other. If we say ascend and descend, it's the opposite direction. So the direction here matters, even though they are antonyms and they have different meanings, but they are showing us the way of direction. So that's why we call it reverse antonym. If we say increase and then decrease, so their direction is different. Again, if we say I have arrived and he has departed, again, we are saying something opposite. So arriving, departing, increasing, decreasing, ascending, descending. So these are examples of reverse antonyms. We have one more antonyms to talk about, which is reciprocal antonyms. So reciprocal antonyms are opposites in the sense that we give and receive. We give and receive. For example, buy, sell, give, receive, employer, employee. So one is different. For example, employer is someone who gives and employee is someone who receives. So buy and sell. So when you buy something, you are taking something, and when you sell something, you are giving something. Just the same with give and receive. You give something for someone, it could be a gift or anything, and you receive that same kind of things from other people. Let's say in different holidays, for example, in Christmas holidays, it's very common for people to give gifts and receive them. Just like that. So this reciprocal antonym meaning reciprocal. So you do something, you get something in return. So that is the antonym of this case. And this is the fifth one and the last one. So now let's do a quick exercise and see how well you remember them. So I will write a list of words first, And I'll also write a list of synonym words and antonym words. I want you to match the first words that I give you to both synonyms and antonym meanings. Okay. Match the words below to their synonyms and antonyms. So you're doing 2 exercises in 1. The first word is happy. Number 2, fast. Strong. Big. And cold. So these are the words that you're going to match to their synonyms and antonyms. So, synonyms. And we also have antonyms. So, quick, large, powerful, joyful, and chilly. So what you're doing is you're writing the numbers here over here. So you're writing the synonyms in their parts. Okay. And you're also doing the same with their antonyms. Okay. Small, slow, weak, sad, and hot. Okay. So you're going to match these words. You're going to put them here and here. Okay, you're going to put them in each categories. These words have synonyms and they also have antonyms. So first you could do this and you could do this. So the numbers are going to be repeated, or you could write the words down there, but they're going to be repeated because they both have synonyms and antonyms. And I will give you 2 to 3 minutes to finish, and we'll come back and do the answers together. Okay, I'm sure you all did a wonderful job of answering these, and I'm sure they're easy, But if they're difficult, let's see them together and see how well you did. The first one is quick. We have quick, and here, do we have the word that is similar to quick? Yes, we do. We have what? Fast. Okay. So we have the synonym for quick, which is fast. What about B, large? For large, do we have something that is similar to large? Yes, we do. We have what? Big. Again, we have the word powerful. Do we have something that is similar to powerful? Yes, we have the word strong. What about joyful? We have the word happy. Okay, what about chilly? The last word, which is left is cold. So these are all the synonyms for these words. What about their antonyms? Small. So what is the antonym of small, which is the opposite of small, is big. What about the opposite of slow? We have fast. The opposite of weak is what? Strong. What about the opposite of sad? Is someone being happy. Okay. And finally, the opposite of hot is cold. Okay. So these are their antonyms, synonyms, and antonyms for these words. And I'm sure you're going to do, this is a fun activity, and you could do this at home with other words. You could write words and write their antonyms and synonyms and try to match and do different fun activities. And thank you all. That was all for today's lesson, and I hope you get to join us in the next class. But remember to always practice at home and in your classrooms. And thank you all for coming, and have a good time.